Welcome to the Vine Resources podcast show. Hi, this is David Lawrence. Welcome to another episode of our Vine Resources podcast show. I'm delighted today to be joined by Caroline Fjellner from the CEO and founder at Anne Frankly. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us today. Caroline, I was really excited about your business. You've got a fascinating business in the employee engagement market. I'd love to hear more about the story. Perhaps for our audience, you can just give us a brief introduction about your company and what you do.
Definitely. What we do is really an innovative service to kind of drive and measure employee engagement in the workplace. We do that by working more with the teams and the employees, so more of a bottom-up solution than the typical top-down solutions where you measure once a year it's driven from a top management perspective. So we work pulsed and we work from an employee and team lead perspective to a great extent.
Fantastic. And you're based over in sunny Stockholm as well?
Yes, we are. Founded and in Stockholm.
Fantastic. And how long for our audience? How long have you now been in business now? And what's your type of clients that you work with?
So we founded the company for a bit more. I think it's almost 2.5 years now, and we kind of work typically, like everyone do, it started off as kind of a hobby project, but now we've been full time for over a year now. It started off with me and my co-founder Peter, and now we are actually the latest one, 12 employees, so growing quite fast.
Fantastic.
We thought that our typical target group would be fast moving IT consultancy services where human capital was of utmost utmost, but we had a very big interest from all kinds of companies actually and industries. So it's been also the public sectors like schools, and we've had interest from more of the industry-based companies as well, and production-based blue collar workers, where we of course can't that wasn't our initial idea, so it might not be a perfect match, but I think it says a lot about the development of the market, that it's such a strong need to really improve the way employees and their engagement at the workplace. So it's relevant across all market and industries, really.
And if you think about a traditional annual appraisal and the way you're doing things differently, and I'm not saying that that's obviously what you do, but in a traditional company they may only be appraising their staff annually. For someone who hasn't used your service or even looked at that market, what value do you think that they could see very, very quickly from using your service, using your app?
Well, I would say it's two main drivers. The first one is to really bring employee engagement, put it on the daily agenda. Since it's something that is so important, we don't want to work at it once a year. If you look at how we follow up economics or customer satisfaction, we do that continuously. So for us, it's given that you should work in the same way with employee engagement. So that's one perspective and one added value for all of our customers. And then the second one is to really create some focus on the team as well. Because if you want to drive change and you really want things to happen among employees, you must enable and empower kind of the individuals and also the team leads. We can take one of our clients is SAS and Scandinavian airline system, and they have traditionally they have asked one employee engagement survey to the entire company, the same one. But the situation for the flying personnel, flight deck and cabin crew, it's completely different. If you look at the context of the people working at headquarters, finance department. So with our solution, they can also kind of adapt the setup for their specific needs and their specific like goals and what drives employee engagement in their context. So I think that's a big win as well.
Caroline, what does in your organisation, and I know it probably has changed even from in the last 6 months or 12 months, but tell me what a typical day looks like for you.
It's definitely changed. I mean, the last couple of months, it's been a lot of focus on recruitment, defining processes and setting up the organization, stuff like that. So it's been a lot, those kind of things. I'm really passionate about product development and creating value for like the end users. So right now I'm trying to kind of move back a little bit towards that and not spend all of my time on like admin. But I've actually just started tracking my time because I'm trying to understand like the time just disappears. What do? I just do like small things all over. So it's like, I mean, it's all from recruitment stuff, and then I do like marketing, and might write a piece on blogging, and then it's designing, and then it's so it's all kind of things. So I would say a typical day is very shattered.
If you and if you could share with me, and we all have, as a business owner myself, we all have. We all make mistakes. We all have certain failures. Do you mind sharing? Perhaps what one of your biggest failures or biggest mistakes you've made?
Yeah, I think one failure. We're trying to fix that right now. Was kind of to lose focus on the product development because we had to spend a lot of time. I mean, we had a big interest from new clients or new customers, and that's amazing that we have so much like incoming leads, and also from companies that we from the beginning maybe didn't define as our like core users, and then you kind of get stuck on their express needs of the like enterprise solution. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really what we did was kind of losing focus on what was our vision. What is it really that we want to create? So you kind of get caught in the claws of, RFPs and stuff like that. So I think that's something we're trying to kind of get back to. And we also had a discussion with our we have a small owner group, and that they invested in our vision, not in our MRRs, and not in us like getting the biggest contracts, and so it's I think that was a bit of a mistake that we kind of lost track of where we were going and got like kind of caught up in those like really big RFPs really.
And what's would you say is the best bit of business advice you've ever received?
Well, one is I got an advice very early on from it was actually a guy who was a part of the like founding group at King, and he said that if you're not ashamed of the app when you release it, you waited too long. And I think that's so true, especially when you grow and you have a much larger user group. It's easy to kind of get caught up in, it needs to be perfect and you need to test it, and it's you lose that kind of playfulness and the courage and all of that. And I think it's super important to keep that sense of like the belief and your gut feeling as well. That's a really good advice.
That I totally agree with. And what would you what piece of advice would you what piece of advice would you give to people looking to join the industry? Whether that within your industry and what you're doing. What piece of advice would you give to people?
Well, I think that we work a lot towards the HR departments, obviously, and there's like a big shift within HR right now. I mean, there's more of the traditional like characters or target group personas or whatever you would call them, that looks at them as more of an administrative role, and they're kind of not they're not really proactive. So I think it's to really focus on the new generation of HR personnel that see themselves as like an obvious part of the leadership team. They work strategically, they work digital, they coach the leaders, they see themselves as really like something like core to make the business tick. And I think those two have very different requirements. And to me, there's so much more potential within the new generation of our HR, actually.
And hopefully represented at board level for those size of organisations as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how do you see your industry? I think is again really fascinating. You're in a really great area that's got huge growth. But how do you see the industry changing in the future? And how do you see this developing over the next 12 to 18 months?
Well, I see it's just started work. The industry kind of just started working digitally, and I think they kind of say that they work digital, but to some extent they just replaced analog tools with something online. That's not really the same thing. So I think it will, it will continue to grow in the way you kind of organize yourself, the way when it comes to like self-leadership and all of those tools that need to support this transition in the way people really want to work. So I think it's really something like going on there within that field that's like beyond what they today label as digital HR.
Yes, absolutely. And out of interest, just as a sort of final point, what are the kind of attributes you look for in employees who would join your company? What are the key attributes that you look for in the people that you would want who would be successful in your organization?
Obviously, we're, as many other new companies today, we're very value-driven. So we want them to share our values of being playful, at the same time professional and really brave. And yeah, I'm not going to go through all of our values here, but so that's an important part. And then I would say really have the attitude of next practice instead of best practice. And it's one part of that is because I think it's going to be part of a winning strategy, but it's also because I think it's more fun, and I want to work like that. So I want to work with people who has the same kind of philosophy. Fantastic.
And where's next after Stockholm? Is there any international expansion plans yet?
Yeah, we have already some clients outside Sweden. We have quite a few clients in Norway, and then we work or we kind of grow organically with our current customers. So we actually we've been working with BCG, Boston Consulting Group. They started using it in the Nordic region, and then it was East European region, and now we are working with Middle East. So we are in Middle East.
Fantastic.
Now. Big step.
Fantastic.
But then, focus is within Europe.
Yeah. Understood. And out of interest, how we're going to put a link to your website on the podcast, but how should people get in touch with you if they're interested in finding out more about your organization and what you do?
They can reach out to me. I'll guide them the right way.
Thank you so much. Well, we'll add a contact details once you've given us that as well, that you're happy for people to reach you on. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us on this show. It's been really insightful to find out more about your business, and I really wish you luck for the next 12 months.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Caroline.
Bye.